everybody, thank you for joining me in another Margarete Miller collage attempt. I'm going to do assignment number 21 for week 21 of Margarete Miller's weekly collage challenge of 2025. I've got the prompts here, I've got the pieces that I've chosen to hit the prompt, and let's see what I can do. So the first prompt is a pattern with contrasting colours. Well, I've got this little art scrap here, and according to the oracle, which is Google as far as I'm concerned, blue and gold are on the contrast spectrum of colours on the colour wheel, so that hits that prompt. Something sharp or pointed. Well, you might recognise this photograph. I've used this photograph or copies of this photograph on other projects in the past. Absolutely love this image, and I think it hits the bill in that her collar is pointed. So I'm going with that. An old library card or catalogue card is number 3 of the prompts. I've got this faux library card here, and I've chosen it for no other reason than I quite like the handwriting on it. A snippet of a handwritten recipe. Well, I have got handwritten recipes, but they're in my own family cookbook, which is packed at the moment, so I've got nothing to hand that would do. So I went on the internet and printed something which was license free, and I have reduced the scale of it. I've chosen this, and apparently it is German potato salad. I've gone with it for no other reason than I like the writing on it, and also the colour of it, which I think will work well with the colour scheme that I'm going to be having going on here, and also more particularly because of this little image down here. Now I'm hoping I can work that in somehow. Not positive I can, but as always, I'm going to give it a go. The next one is, where are we? A clipping of a meaningful or mysterious phrase. Well, I really wanted to get this one in. Above all, be the heroine of your life and not the victim. I love that as a meaningful phrase, but I couldn't find a clipping of it other than what I've printed out here on the computer. The reason I wanted it, or printed it out on the printer, but I generated it on the computer. The reason I wanted it was because it ties in with a female on my image there. But I don't really think that it hits the bill, in that it might be a meaningful phrase, but it's not a clipping. So I am going to dispense with that, and I'm going to go with this. Now, it's from an old book, and what I'm going to go with is The Age of Reasonn, Romanticism and Roccoco. To me, that's mysterious. I haven't got a clue how that would be covered in text, so I would read it. I suppose maybe you could argue that it's not mysterious, that it's more intriguing, but I think it's a little bit mysterious, and I'm going with that for this one. So yeah, come on, give me a little bit of artistic license on this one. Plus also it's not a clipping, it's a bit of a headline, but I'm going with it. So if you're not happy with that, please excuse me, and let's hope the collage police are not around. And finally, bonus, something silver or grey. Well, I did have something here earlier on that was silver or grey. Here, off to one side, I've got this piece of vellum, which if I put down on white, which is my background piece as always, you can see it goes across various shades of grey. So I'm going to be using that. And as always, I've got my background piece here. Somebody asked me the other day how big this is, so I'm just going to measure it because I don't remember. It is 14 centimetres by 23 centimetres, and I go with about a centimetre border all the way around, and I only do that so that I've got plenty of space in my journal when I bind it all together. Okay, enough of that, let's get going. Prompts up there and see what I can do. First thing I'm going to try and do is use my tearing ruler and tear this. I might regret it because I might want a neat edge, but for now I'm going to go with it. So let's do this. Okay, and I'm just going to try and get rid of this line down here. I don't think I'm going to be able to use the tearing ruler to get rid of that bit, which is why I might end up having to go with cutting this on the guillotine. Ooh, that's just ripped there. So very carefully, it's quite brittle, this paper. Doesn't really want to tear easily, and that could be because I'm being a bit too cautious with it. Oh no, it doesn't want to tear. Okay, I'm going to try by hand and see if I get a better result. Okay, that's good enough. I'm going to rip that bit off there and rip that bit off there. Oh, disaster. So heavy-handed. Okay, well, I'm just going to go with Age of Reasonn, Romanticism and Roccoco. Oh dear, that's a fine start to today. Anyway, let's get a wriggle on. So what next? Goodness me. Right, I'm going to go with my library card. I don't want all of this showing. I do want that headline, and I do want that line of blue there to pick up on this blue. So I'm just going to put that against my left-hand border, which is where I always seem to start with these. I'm going to roughly centre like that. Have a little portion up there. Let's have a fiddle with this. Want to have it staggered, like the dark blue up there. So let me pop that this way round and see if I can get something a bit more dramatic and pull it over to this border like that. So I've got it staggered. Okay, I'm going to drop this down a little bit. I need to get in this. Now I could have that like that across there, but it's looking a bit big as it stands, so I might trim that down, or I could even trim it so that it just says Reasonn Romanticism and Roccoco. A bit bothered with that date in there. Yeah, I think I am going to take away those first two words so that it doesn't look so much like a book title or a chapter of a book rather. Now this, I've got various options with this. I could actually just put it in that corner, something like that, maybe lift it up a little bit and just rip it away so that I just have this in here, which is shades of grey, and have that almost as a decorative feature. I could have it down there like that. I'm going to take that off for the time being because I don't need that on there. Could have it down here where the grey tones are more noticeable against the white. Maybe tuck that in there like that, or even bring it over a little bit because I don't really like that cross there. Okay, I'm not liking that. Okay, I'm just going to take my fingers away. That would work. I don't like this blankish area there, but I could counteract that by bringing that down a little bit. I'm going to take my hands away again. I'm not liking so much of that showing now, so I'm going to move that across. Still keeping that blue line there. And then I've got this recipe to get in. I'm just going to cut this out on my guillotine. If I use it on the left-hand side, I'm not going to get that in. No, that's not working. Maybe if I put that under there like that. No, that's not working. So what about if I do that? I'm going to trim down that left-hand side of this card. So I'm going to try and see what this looks like, and true to form, I was a bit too gung-ho and I've trimmed a bit too close there, but that's going to have to be as it is, I'm afraid, because I've done it now. Wondering about trying to dispense with that and just use the grey. I think if I reduce this down, maybe just take it underneath there where that natural break is. And this I'm going to trim down so it's straight. Okay, so I've done that, and I am going to have to go in and try and straighten that up because it doesn't look very straight at all to me. But I think that's how I'm going to have it this week. I'm going to drop that down like that, maybe pull that up a little bit more. I'm liking this floral element which softens it, and I'm liking the blue which gives me my pop of colour, and the gold is working well with this background, there is a little hint of silver in there, which almost looks this beigey colour. And then that's something in between, isn't it? So I think I'm kind of going to go with that. So I've got some straightening up to do. I've got that label to try and get straight, or that phrase to try and get straight. And then I am just going to glue it all down and call it a day. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, so I'll be back in 1 second when that's all done, and we can go through the prompts. So a couple of minutes on, and this is my finished piece, everything all glued down. So I'm going to bring down my prompts, and you probably will notice up here that this has become even shorter now, and I've snipped that. There we go. I've snipped this. Oh, it's alive. I've snipped this portion off the end of it here, and I was trying to decide where I was going to put it, if I was going to put it on here at all, and I did wonder about putting it up there. Quite like how that looks, and it feels more balanced than just having that piece there. Did wonder about putting it down there, maybe down the side here or down here, and then I suddenly thought there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here, and maybe I can claim that's my mysterious phrase, but I'm not going to do that. It's a very bad joke. I'm actually going to pop it up there, and I'm going to do that right now and have it like that. So I'm just going to put some glue on this. A little bit too much glue, so I'm just going to dab a little bit off with my finger. There we go. And I'm going to pop it up here like that, half on, half off, roughly centered, because I can't do anything straight, and I'm just going to have it like that. Okay, everybody, so a pattern with contrasting colours. There we go. A pattern with contrasting colours. That's my blue portion of paper there, blue and gold. Something sharp or pointed. Well, I've gone with her collar. I love this image, as I said before, so really pleased that I could get it in today. An old library card or catalogue entry. Well, this is my faux library card here. A snippet of a handwritten recipe. I've got one down here. And a clipping of a meaningful or mysterious phrase. Well, this one, whether it's mysterious or whether it's intriguing, I don't know. But anyway, I've gone with that one. And bonus, something silver or grey. Well, I've gone with grey in my little piece of vellum down here. And I'm just going to risk putting a tiny dab of glue under this bottom corner there to hold it down. There we go. Thank you so much for watching, as always, everybody. I know I say it every week that I appreciate your company, but I really do. I love the support you give me. I certainly love your comments. Very kind, very generous most of the time. Not sure I deserve them, but I do try. And as I'm always saying, regardless of how my collages come out, which I hope are not too bad, I really enjoy doing these and having a go. I have found the last few since I came back from holiday really difficult. Not sure if that's because I'm out of practice, because those that you saw whilst I was away on holiday, I scheduled, or I recorded and scheduled to air whilst I was away on holiday. So I've been out of practice for a good 8 weeks until I got back. Or whether it's just my prompt choices. I'm not giving enough time to trying to find the right prompt choices that will work together. This week, I don't feel it was a struggle at all, so maybe I'm easing back into things. Probably his famous last words. So I'm going to stop babbling, say thank you once again. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy doing your collages if you're doing the Margarete Miller challenge this year. And if not, just enjoy your week, whatever you're up to. Take care now. Bye-bye.